You know, for 10 whole seasons of Friends, there was one constant. The guy with the bright white hair, the endless unrequited love, and a perfectly timed sarcastic comment. But what if Gunther, what if the quietest guy in the room made the absolute boldest move? Well, it turns out it could have changed pretty much everything.
Yeah, we all remember that last-minute confession in the finale, right? But imagine if he didn't wait. What if he just went for it way back in the beginning? That one little change? Oh man, it could completely unravel the whole Ross and Rachel story we all know.
Okay, so to really get the full impact here, we've got to step into Gunther's shoes for a second. From his spot behind that central perk counter, he wasn't just slinging coffee. Nope, he was the silent witness to Rachel's entire journey.
And this is really what made Gunther, Gunther. I mean, think about it. He watched her transform from a runaway bride into this successful career woman. He was this simple, steady presence in her super chaotic life. And here's the key. He never, ever made things complicated for her. And that right there, that was the core conflict, wasn't it? You had Gunther's love, quiet, consistent, safe. And then you had Ross's love, intense, complicated, and oh so dramatic. The whole show was built on that drama. But what if, just for a little bit, Rachel had picked safety?
I know. It sounds a little nuts, right? Rachel picking Gunther, but hear me out. There was this tiny little window of time where his confession might have actually worked, like a moment where a yes from her was actually genuinely possible.
So when was this magic window? Right at the very beginning. Think about it. Rachel had just bolted from her old life, she's stuck in a job she hates, and she's feeling super vulnerable. And at this point, Ross, he's just her brother's nerdy friend. There's no baggage, no complicated history. It's a totally clean slate.
And this is the crucial part. Rachel was in the middle of completely redefining who she was. She was trying to figure out her life without her dad's money or her ex-fiancé. So in that moment of total chaos and what am I doing with my life, someone like Gunther, who was kind, stable, and clearly adored her, well, that could have been a really appealing, comforting choice.
Okay, so let's game this out. How would it have actually happened? You can just picture it, can't you? Gunther, all nervous, finally asks her out. Rachel's surprised, but she sees how sincere he is, so she says yes. They go on a few dates, and it's nice. It's sweet. But, yeah, there's just no spark. Rachel was someone who thrived on passion and being challenged. A relationship with Gunther, as nice as it would be, just wasn't going to be that transformative experience she needed. So, it would have ended. Probably pretty nicely, too.
But, and this is where this whole what if gets really interesting, because the biggest fallout from Gunther's confession isn't about Rachel at all. It's about what it does to Ross.
You know, Ross's whole romantic story with Rachel was pretty much built on one thing: hesitation. He was always waiting, always overthinking. Remember the list? He just let chance after chance slip right through his fingers. That was his whole romantic problem, right?
And you know what's the best way to shatter hesitation? The fear of losing someone for good. Seeing Rachel actually with someone else, even if it's just Gunther, that would have been the ultimate wake-up call for him. Because competition, it really forces you to get clear on what you want.
All of a sudden, Ross would have to do something. He couldn't just pine away from the sidelines anymore. He'd have to face his feelings head on. This one little change could have given us a totally different Ross, a more confident Ross, who actually fights for what he wants instead of letting his fear and overthinking run the show. So, in a really weird twist, Gunther might have actually made Ross and Rachel happen sooner, and maybe even made them stronger from the start.
Okay, so Ross gets a big confidence boost. But what about our guy Gunther? What happens to him in this new timeline?
Well, here's the kind of bittersweet truth of it all. It doesn't matter if Rachel said yes or if she let him down easy. The point is, Gunther would have gotten an answer. Instead of wasting a whole decade lost in a fantasy, he would have known exactly where he stood. And that clarity, that would have set him free. Oh, absolutely. Without that decade-long obsession hanging over him, Gunther's character could have actually grown. We might have seen him go on dates, find some hobbies besides, staring at Rachel. He might have even found someone who loved him back with that same quiet, steady love he was so good at giving. He could have had his own story,
So what's the big takeaway from all this? This whole thing isn't really about shipping couples. It's a really powerful lesson in timing, in personal growth, and what love is all about.
And this really gets to the heart of what the show was trying to say about love. It's that the right person for you isn't just someone who loves you, it's the person who actually helps you grow.
The most important relationships are the ones that challenge us, that push us to be better.
And that right there is why Gunther, as sincere and sweet as he was never really the right guy for her. His love was safe, it was comforting. But Rachel's journey, it needed that fire, that conflict, and yeah, even all the heartache that came with Ross. That's what actually helped her become the person she was meant to be.
10 years. That's how long he waited. A whole decade, just silent, waiting for some perfect moment that, let's be real, was never going to come. By the time he finally said something, the book was closed. The story was over. That moment was long gone.
And maybe that's the real lesson here. From Gunther's story, the one we saw, and the one we just imagined. It's not about winning or losing, or getting a yes or a no. It's about having the guts to just try. Because sometimes, the biggest tragedy isn't getting rejected. It's living with a silence of never ever knowing what might have been.